Hey y'all, so I am back with another nail tutorial, and since I had the time, I was able to finally get my daughter in, and we're going to be doing a full set with a gel polish design. So to start off, I'm going to be doing my natural nail prep, and to do that, I'm just taking my cuticle pusher and pushing back her eponychium, and once I have that done, I'm going to come in with my cuticle bit, and I'm going to start at the center of the nail, and I'm going to do the left side first, and then once I have all 5 nails done, I'm going to put my bit in reverse, and I'm going to do the opposite side. And next I'm going to come in with my sanding band, and I'm going to lightly buff the surface of the nail plate. Now it looks like I'm being harsh, but of course it's sped up, so it just looks that way. When you are working on the natural nail, you want to make sure that your pressure is always light and you're being very careful when doing so. I also, before I started, took a hand file and buffed the top part of that sanding band. That's going to remove that sharp edge, and it's going to make it less of a chance for you to cut the client. So I went in and applied her tips. These are the extra long stiletto tips, and you can find some similar to these ones on Amazon. And I also use the KDS nail glue. That is the only glue that I pretty much use. It dries really fast, and you can also find that one on Amazon. So after I cut her length down, of course I went in and measured all the nails, and now I'm coming in and I'm just taking my hand file and just kind of getting those into shape. I'm not worried about it being perfect right now, but I do want to get them into the general shape that I am looking for, which is a tapered square. Now once I have that done, I'm going to come in one more time with my sanding band, and I'm going to buff where that tip meets the natural nail. So I want that to be smooth, so when I come in and apply my acrylic, it'll be a smooth surface there for me. So for my design, I'm going to be doing a freestyle. Now I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. I had bits and pieces of a nail art that I know I wanted to incorporate, and then I had a set of colors that I knew I wanted to use. So the gel polish colors that I have are from Madamglam, and they're these beautiful cool tone colors, and I believe they just released them here in August. So I knew I wanted to start with that. So I had those two things, and that was pretty much it. So when it came to choosing my base for my acrylic, I knew that my polishes were going to be on the cooler side, so I wanted to go with a cool tone nude. Now this nude that I'm using is from Not Polish. It is Nude Panther, and I recently too just purchased a bunch of nudes from them, and I am already almost out of these nudes, y'all. I have been using them up, and I really love them, so I am definitely going to be repurchasing some of those nudes. So for my base, you can see that I'm just applying that nude color. It's going to be a solid nail, and I knew I was going to have more solids because I wanted to add that gel polish on top. So I already had that plan. Still didn't know what I was going to do with the gel polish, but knew I just needed the base. So pretty much I'm going to just continue building all these nails up. All of them are going to be just the solid nude. Well, all of them except for one. I'm going to save that middle finger for some nail art. So for the middle finger, like I said, I'm going to be doing some nail art. I'm going to be using some water slide decals. So I'm going to prep this nail and get it ready, because you do have to do this in steps. So the first step is for me to just add a clear base. Now normally when I go in and I add a clear base, I do it really thin. This one, not so much. I'm doing it a little bit on the thicker side, just thicker than what I normally would do, because I don't want it to be so thin that when I cap, you can see the base clear, the decal, and then the clear on top. So that's why I do it that way. Now, while I'm allowing that to dry, I'm going to jump over to the other nail and start getting that one into shape. So like I said, when I'm applying decals, it is in steps. So I want to make sure that I'm always occupying my time and I'm not just, applying something, waiting for it to dry and just sitting there not doing nothing. So I always pay attention to stuff like that. If I know that I need to allow something to dry, either I'll do it first or I'll do it before I know I'm going to have to be finished with that hand. So now that that nail is dry, I'm coming in with a foil gel, and this is Macart's foil gel. You can also find this on Amazon, and I'm just applying a smooth layer to that. Once I have that done, I'm going to stick her in my lamp for a full 60 seconds. Now I'm coming in and I'm going to get my decals ready. So I have just regular tap water, and I'm going to take my decal and I'm going to just cut that out and then place it in my little dish and allow that to separate. Now, if you have a printer, you can make these yourself, y'all. That's what I did. I made all of these decals myself. I have a inkjet printer, and you can just go to Amazon and buy water slide decal paper, and then you use a certain type of spray and you just spray it, and there you have it. You have your own water slide decals. So for the image to slide away from the paper, it doesn't take long at all. So I'm just using my tweezers to fish that out. I'm going to apply it on top of my clear stamper and then just slide that paper off. Now I'm just pressing down, making sure that it's stuck to the stamper. And I'm doing this to make sure that when I place it, that I'm placing it on there straight. So you can see I dabbed it on the paper towel just to remove the extra little water, and now I'm lining it up, and then I'm just going to press it down onto the nail. Now I recently just started using this foil gel to apply decals, and it works so good. It just sticks them on there so well. So I'm just going to rub that in, make sure that it's all the way down. You don't want this coming up when you encapsulate it at all. And now I'm going to come in with another paper towel, and I'm just going to really rub that in and pick up any extra water that is still there. You do not want to leave water in the nails when you're encapsulating it. So that's why I go over it again just to be sure. So now what I'm going to do, now that I have that sticker in position and it's stuck on there where I want it to be, I'm going to take some scissors and just take off all of that extra bit that's around the nail. And when I'm doing this, I'm even kind of overlapping or going onto the nail because I do not want to leave a border or an edge around that. I really want to be able to encapsulate this well. Sometimes if you do not encapsulate something like this, like a large paper, you can leave holes or spots in the acrylic, and that's just going to lead to moisture getting into the nails. So take off a nice amount on the edges, because more than likely that's where your cracks are going to happen. I also find that using nippers allows you to get in closer and cut exactly where you need it to be. And you also want to take into consideration that you are going to come in and foul. So I always keep that in mind, and I leave room for that, because you don't want to go in and foul and then open up a crack where you really didn't seal it very well because some of the sticker was hanging out. So keep that in mind. So once I have all of that done, my next step is to seal this. And I'm only using a top coat, a non-white top coat at that, to seal it. Now the reason why I'm doing this is so when I come in with my acrylic, it won't bleed the image off. Some images do. I thought about it after I got done doing this, and this one really doesn't bleed much when you put acrylic on there, but better safe than sorry. So now I'm going to come in and take my nude and just create a fade I also find when doing designs like this to where you're using some type of sticker or foil and you're coming in and creating a fade, it's best to do it with a darker nude. Darker nude, you won't risk the chance of that sticker showing from underneath. This one was on the lighter side, so I really did have to build this up. Now, on the other hand is where I made my adjustments, and what I did was I used really small beads and I just built it up. Don't go in and just use one big bead because it's really going to come out sheer. So always make sure that you build something like this up. So to cap this nail, I already have so much at the back where I built it up, where I brought in that nude. So I do not need to add a lot of clear there. So I'm going to take my brush and I reversed it, and then I started my clear bead where that nude bulk ended. So now I'm just going to walk that clear down and really make sure that I am taking in the sides and that I am capping all the way around. You don't want to bulk up the sides, but you still want to make sure that you have all of that capped in. So I'm just going to smooth all of that out, get it all in place, and I'll even add a little bit more at the tip. You want to make sure that you have it even with the back area of the nail. Okay, so nails are into shape, got them all filed. Now her hands are smaller, so just a tip, when they have smaller hands, I like to use a wider shape on them. So I feel like the tapered square really fits her nails. So moving on to design, like I said, I'm going to be doing a gel polish design. So I'm just showing you these three colors that I have. These are the ones that I knew I wanted to put something together with them. So I'm looking at them, I'm looking at the Dior that I've already placed down, and I'm going to use this one and then the first one. So I'm going to start off with those. So I'm going to take that lighter blue color, and when I was looking at this color, it really matched the background of the Dior, but now that it's capped, it was a little bit off, but not too much. So I think I'm still okay. So I'm going to be doing a French on this one, and to start that out, I'm going to place a dot in the center of the nail and then on the side of her sidewalls where her natural nail ends. So that's really going to be my starting points and my connectors that's going to help me build out this French. So once I have the dots down, I'm going to take my striping brush and I'm going to start at one end and just work that one to the center. And then I'm going to do the opposite side the same. So once I have that outline done, I'm going to come in with the nail brush from the gel polish and just start filling it in. So that's always a good thing when you're doing abstract lines, when you're doing something that you need to fill in a big spot. Go ahead and get your outline first and then fill it in with the original brush. So for my next design, I'm going to be doing a gel polish marble. Here I'm showing you the blossom gel that I'm going to be using. It's from AliExpress. So normally with gel polish marble, you'll put it on a palette, create your swirls, and then transfer that via brush onto the nail. Well, I want this marble to be kind of almost like a fade, like you see bits and pieces of it fading and then you see the marble. So I thought, well, let me try the blossom gel and see how this works out. So I laid a thin layer of blossom gel like I always do when I'm using this top coat, because that's essentially what it is. I always start with a thin layer. So now I'm just going to take my gel polish and I'm going to just do random dots. Once I apply all of these random dots, that's when I'm going to start my swirl. Now, as soon as I applied these two colors, I knew I was going to need like a buffer. So I just added a plain white, and then I'm also going to add a darker blue so it can go with the Dior signs. And to create those swirls, I'm just going to use my striping brush and I'm swirling on the surface of the gel polish. So I am not digging my brush through. And I'm not doing any kind of certain way. I'm just creating the swirls as I go. And I found out that you can really swirl like this to heck and it'll still look good. So I was just creating the swirls as I went. And as I was creating them, I knew that I did not want it to cover the entire nail. And I was also looking at it, and at this point, I realized I should have used more blossom gel because I was seeing a little bit of the spread in the fade that I wanted, but it was very little. So if I used more blossom gel, I knew I could have created that. So in order to fix the fact that it's covering the whole nail, I'm going to take my brush and just with a little bit of acetone, I'm going to start carving out exactly where I want it. And to remove that, I'm not swiping, but instead I'm dabbing. Dabbing is going to allow for a better fade, and it's going to give me the overall look that I'm looking for, that fade. So I'm just going to continue on fixing that, and then I did this design on the pinky and also on the thumb, and then on the opposite hand I believe I did it on the middle finger and the thumb. So when creating a gel marble, either this way or the traditional way, I think the key is to not add so much gel polish. That's when it's going to get lumpy and you're going to get an uneven surface when you go to top coat it. So just make sure that you're paying attention to how much polish you're actually using. So to finish this set off, of course, I went in and I top coated, and then I also added a few diamonds to the ones that were blank, and that was it for her set. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.